Good morning from Warra My Country. I'm Claire Murphy. Welcome to the Solo Bureau. We're whipping around Australia today, friends, with tales from WA space rockets to a retiring NRL favourite, a burning desert and an airport proposal. A lot's been going on this week. But of course, we must find out what's been happening while you were sleeping first. It's Friday, August 21. The ABC is reporting that senior police officials have advised that an arrangement was reached for the Sydney Swans players accused of sexual assault to pay women to consume drugs believed to be cocaine off of their bodies. The Herald Sun confirmed with Sydney CEO Matthew Pavlich that all 5 players denied taking drugs at the Melbourne hotel where they were staying on Sunday night. Pavlich was asked about whether the players had been drug tested, to which he said that was a matter for the police. However, a senior police source told the ABC that they didn't have the power to drug test the players as they were not involved in an activity where it's illegal to be under the influence, meaning they were not doing something like driving a car at the time. It's believed the woman who's accusing the players of sexual assault was seen leaving the hotel room in a state of distress, with reports circulating she was locked out naked after levelling the accusation. She has given a formal statement to police. Isaac Heaney, along with fellow players Chad Warner, Riley Bice, James Jordan and Nick Bailey, have been suspended from playing for the rest of the season by the club. The alleged victim's friends are defending her in social media comment sections, saying the players are the ones whose behaviour crossed the line, explaining that she was working and had set clear limits. She reportedly found a Swans official downstairs and requested to get her clothes back. Victoria Police are continuing the investigation, travelling to Sydney to speak to the players. So far, no charges have been laid. Meanwhile, sponsors have been distancing themselves from the players involved, with Nike pausing its personal sponsorship relationships with Heaney and Warner. Colgate has also pulled its deal with Heaney, while Volkswagen and Telstra have confirmed to the ABC that they've also suspended or paused their activities. The publication of Isaac Heaney's next children's book, which was due for release in November, has also been paused, with promotion of the previous 2 suspended. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has slammed the AFL for their initial response to the allegations, saying it was unacceptable, telling the ABC 7:30 report that the NRL have a no-fault stand-down clause for issues like this, but the first thoughts should have always been about the woman and her safety. Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong has met with Israel's ambassador to Australia in the wake of the decision not to investigate the death of an Australian aid worker in Gaza. The ambassador was summoned to Parliament House after the announcement that the IDF would not be holding anyone criminally liable for the attack on the World Kitchen convoy in Gaza in April 2024, which saw 7 aid workers killed, including Australian Zomi Frankham. The IDF admitted they had made mistakes in identifying an armed security guard as a member of Hamas. Ambassador Hillel Newman saying the convoy didn't tell them they had armed security with them, saying mistakes were made by both the aid convoy and the Israeli military. Israel's military announced it had completed reviews of 150 incidents of troop conduct in Gaza and made decisions on 5 cases, including the April 2024 attack, concluding that there was no reasonable suspicion of criminal misconduct that would justify the opening of a criminal investigation. Ms. Wong says they're currently experiencing a difficult time in their relationship with Israel, saying after the meeting with Newman that questions around 2 further strikes that breached the rules of engagement, an unsatisfactory explanation for strikes occurring in a humanitarian fire control zone, and repeated refusals by Israel to hand over the audio evidence of the attack were questions that remain unanswered. 2 IDF officers were stood down after the attack, with 3 others reprimanded. Ms. Wong saying it isn't sufficient accountability and that the decision not to take the investigation further was insulting and hurtful to Ms. Frankham's loved ones. While convicted mushroom killer Erin Patterson's lawyers are pushing for a retrial, the prosecution's calling for extra time behind bars. The Victorian Court of Appeal yesterday heard from the prosecution, who claimed the judge who handed down the sentence made a mistake by giving Patterson the opportunity to one day walk free. Patterson was sentenced to life behind bars with a non-parole period of 33 years. The judge, citing the intense media coverage of the case, meant her life in jail would be more difficult. The prosecution argued that the judge wrongly determined that Patterson would be required to remain in solitary confinement for years, explaining that she has access to a library, leisure equipment and a chaplain, stating the 33-year non-parole period was manifestly inadequate. Meanwhile, Patterson is separately fighting to have her murder convictions quashed, arguing she suffered a substantial miscarriage of justice. One of her appeal grounds is that she was forced to give evidence at trial because the trial judge excluded mushroom photos. Patterson was found guilty of killing 3 of her former in-laws and attempting to kill a 4th by deliberately serving them a beef Wellington lunch that was laced with death cap mushrooms. 6 years after pulling up stumps in the UK, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are returning to Harry's homeland. Back then, Harry defended the decision to no longer be working royals and to move away after the British press attacked his wife, reminding him of the time his late mother, Princess Diana, spent battling with the same thing. When he gave evidence at the Daily Mail trial recently, where he lost his bid to sue the paper for how they gathered information about his and his family's lives, he held back tears as he said the tabloid had made Meghan's life an absolute misery. Now the couple have decided to bring the family back to the place they'd fled all those years ago, with reports they'll be moving back later this month with the children, Archie and Lilibet, already enrolled to begin school in September. There is a lot of conjecture as to what prompted the decision, but it's been revealed that Harry and Meghan, along with the children, had a private meeting with King Charles and Queen Camilla at Highgrove House in July, the first time the King had been with his youngest son's family since 2022. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has bought a 19th century castle overlooking a river in the southeast of Ireland. It's not known how much the billionaire paid for the home, which was built in 1830, but local media estimates the property's worth between 20 and 30 million euro, which in Australian terms means somewhere between 33 and 49 million dollars. Meta employs around 1,500 staff in Ireland, with a number of US tech firms basing their European headquarters there due to their favourable tax regime. Those are your top stories. Next, we're getting our whip on as we head around the country to find out what's been happening where you live. It's whip time, friends, and if you live somewhere where something amazing is happening that you think should be included in the whip next week, let me know. You can email me if that is easier, claire@thesolobureau.com. That is Claire with all the letters, in case you're wondering, CLAIRE. Or, of course, you can hit me up in the DMs or on Substack. To New South Wales first this morning, and the body of a woman believed to be missing teenager Lily Hooper has been found 8 days after she went missing in the New South Wales Southern Highlands. Lily left her home in Oakdale in Sydney's west on August 12 to go for a hike in the Natai National Park. She didn't return that evening and couldn't be contacted on her phone, triggering a wide-scale search by emergency services, her father making a desperate plea on a call to radio station 2SM to find his child.
I just want everyone to throw love and energy because we've got to go and find her. We've got to find this kid.
Her car was discovered at the Bonham Peak trailhead on Wednesday night. Authorities found the body, which has not yet been formally identified, but is believed to be Miss Hooper in bushland around 11:30am yesterday. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns initially shared the news that Miss Hooper had been found alive before admitting he'd been misinformed and apologising to the family for any extra heartbreak those comments may have caused. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Opposition Leader Angus Taylor led a moment of silence in federal parliament after sending their condolences to Miss Hooper's family. A Chinese national appeared in court in Brisbane this week accused of trying to bribe a public official with 20 grand cash hidden in a gift of tea. Guo Xinju was a senior manager for a renewable energy technology company based in China called Growit, which had multiple applications before the Clean Energy Council to have their products accredited here in Australia. In early July, Xu met with representatives of the Clean Energy Council, explaining that he wanted to have the applications expedited and offering to pay for it. He was told that wasn't allowed. He later gave the representative a gift, which he insisted was only tea, but when it was opened, $20,000 was found in amongst the tea tins. Zhu pleaded guilty to corruptly offering valuable consideration to influence favour in relation to business and handed a 12-month sentence, which was suspended after spending 26 days in custody. Some quick hits from WA today. Fire forced the evacuation of the Fiona Stanley Hospital yesterday. The blaze broke out just before 10am and was contained within half an hour. It's believed to have started within a self-contained room in the ICU. The iconic Sea restaurant in Perth announced this week they're closing their doors. Sea is a revolving restaurant with an incredible view of the city. They'll be shutting their doors at the end of January next year, with the building they occupy being converted into a hotel. Early voting started in the Secret Harbour by-election this week. The by-election follows the resignation of WA Legislative Assembly member Labor's Paul Papalia, who said it was for family reasons. The August 29 by-election's being touted as a test of One Nation's popularity in the state. And one of Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets was retrieved off the WA coast this week. And when I say off the coast, a long way off the coast. It landed in the Indian Ocean just off Christmas Island. The small number of locals lined up along the coast to see the 52-metre space debris be towed in. It had spent 24 days at sea after rough conditions made it too dangerous to retrieve it. Authorities in South Australia have revealed there's now been 2 more mass mortality events connected to the bird flu outbreak in the state. SA Premier Peter Malinauskas told Parliament that the deaths occurred on Trowbridge Island off of York Peninsula and 2 small islands called North Page and South Page off Kangaroo Island. More than 1,000 crested terns, which are presumed to have died from the avian H5N1 flu, were detected on Wednesday, with a suspected case of a little penguin on KI also being investigated. Earlier this month, a surveillance team recorded a mass mortality event on Borden Rocks just off of Cape Jaffa. And on a slightly brighter note in SA, a former bikie has proposed to his now fiancée at Adelaide Airport. Braden Hunter popped the question as his then girlfriend, Michaela Goodridge, arrived back from a trip to Bali with her mum and her sisters. He had a giant heart made from roses brought into the arrivals area, along with a neon sign saying, "Will you marry me?" Airport staff captured the entire thing on video, which is now going viral. Hunter says he knew her family would be there because they were travelling with her, so thought it was the perfect time to get down on one knee, and she said yes. Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie has delivered an emotional plea in the Senate after revealing she's suffering a personal health condition related to an injury she acquired during her time in the military.
There is no SOP for vaginal prolapse, an SOP for penis problems, but no SOP for vagina problems. So either DVA doesn't know that female veterans have vaginas or they actually don't care. I would like to ask the Prime Minister, Minister Miles and Minister Keogh, what they would do if their penis was hanging by a thread. What would they do if treatment for that injury directly connected to their military service was denied by the Department of Veterans Affairs? Would they say, "Okay, no worries, I don't really need my penis"? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm asking you once more. I'm begging you, Prime Minister. We are already suffering enough. Drop the bloody cap. Drop it, mate. It is so unfair. It is what we do not need. It is enough. Veterans have had enough. Leave us alone.
Ms Lambie explained that a lack of services in Tasmania and a delay in the response from the Department of Veterans Affairs meant she had to pay $7,000 for the surgery in Canberra herself, saying she knows she's luckier than some other veterans who simply can't afford it. From July 1 next year, the government will cap allied health services for veterans at $5,000 a year. After a video went viral of a man being chased off by a pack of dogs being walked by a woman who claimed the man assaulted her in Victoria, a teenager has been arrested. 2 women were walking in Kooyong when a man allegedly lunged from the bushes attempting to grab one of them. The women were walking a pack of dogs at the time who interrupted his attempt and ran him off into an underpass of the Monash Freeway. The video of the dogs seeing him off went viral. Following public appeals and tips to Crime Stoppers, a 13-year-old boy has now been arrested. A huge fire is burning in outback Northern Territory, already scorching through 400,000 hectares of the Tanami Desert, 500 kilometres north of Alice Springs. Experts are saying it's a sign that this year's fire season is going to be a big one. There's currently no risk to lives or property as the flames are in such a remote area, but it will impact the wildlife in the region. And investigators have now identified all 5 victims of a terrible crash on the Stewart Highway. The NT News identified 69-year-old Gail Stabler, who was a Star Trek delivery driver. She was the sole occupant of a van that was hit head-on by a ute carrying 4 people who all died in the fiery crash. The 4 have not been publicly identified, but police now know they're a 20-year-old woman, a 23-year-old man, a 23-year-old woman and a 36-year-old man. All the families have now been notified. A Canberra early rising butcher has saved the lives of his neighbours after smelling smoke. Tom Freeman was getting ready to go to work, defrosting his car's windscreen in the chilly Canberra early hours, when he smelled something not right. So he did a loop of the street before heading off, noticing smoke coming from his neighbour's garage. He knocked on the door to wake them up, finally managing to get them out, along with the family cat, before flames inundated the building. And retiring NRL legend Josh Papali'i will run out at his home ground in Canberra for the final time tonight. The Raiders have renamed GIO Stadium Papa's House in his honour and have changed up their logo, the Viking now sporting Papali'i's signature mullet. The club also unveiled a mural at the stadium this week honouring his famous 2019 try that saw them beat the Rabbitohs, landing them in their first grand final game in 25 years. The one club veteran who has starred for Queensland in the State of Origin and played for Samoa will go down as one of the greatest forwards of the modern era. Okay, we made it, team. It's Friday and the whip is complete, but that is not the end of the Solo Bureau for this week. We have a Saturday special coming up tomorrow with some very big book news. So we thought my book club mate Kelly Rintoul and I should do another book review for you. So that is happening tomorrow. Stay tuned. Have a great weekend.